Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Boozer here. In today's video, I just want to go over a couple, tips for players of all progression levels, but mainly geared towards earlier and mid-game progression levels when you're just starting out your raid journey. And I just want to highlight a couple points that really help kind of focus in on a few key areas where if you do these things, they will help you increase your enjoyment in the game, as well as increase your progression level in your account. So there's a couple things I want to go over here. I've narrowed it down to 5 topics that we can kind of go over here in today's video. So the first thing is free resources. So what I mean by free resources is basically like anything that can kind of enhance your account that is basically free. You don't really need to spend. So things like Great Hall. Great Hall, this is something that a lot of newer players might be a little bit unfamiliar with or maybe uncomfortable with handling. But basically it's a long-term grind. You want to do your arena battles every day. Minimum do your arena battles. You want to be on top of it. It takes a long time to complete your Great Hall. Don't be discouraged, but you should be working towards it, because it does give you free stats all across the entire game, and it does help you reach higher difficulty just with these increased stats. So this is very important. The Great Hall, you do it every day. You get tokens. You don't have to pay for anything. You don't have to work extra hard to just refill. The other kind of free resource is a different content in the game. So you have Doom Tower. You don't need to do like insane levels and difficulties of Doom Tower. Even if you're just doing normal, you want to be climbing up Doom Tower as high as you can every month. You want to do your best at just trying to reach as high as you can. You want to make sure you spend your silver keys, so any keys you can on any boss that you can defeat, because once you defeat those bosses, you get materials. You get your materials, and you can stack them up and craft them in the forge. So you always get these like little materials, crafting materials and such, and you can use that in your forge to get extra silver, right? So that's also additional free resources. So it's kind of all interconnected, right? The other area that's really important that you should never neglect as a player looking to progress in the game or just stacking resources is faction wars. Faction wars actually gives you some of the most insane item set in the game, which is basically perception gear. Perception gear is a 2-piece set, gives you 40 accuracy and 5 speed, which is basically like the stats that any champion can basically benefit from. So it's a great set. It's craftable. You want to make sure that you do your faction wars as often as you can, as high as you can. So there's going to come a point where you basically say, hey, I have amassed the amount of champions that I need to complete this faction. It's time to build a proper team to, maybe finish it off, do all the stars. But in the meantime, if you know that you're kind of just like extending you're basically doing as high as you can, but you can't 3-star every single level, you try to do as high of a stage as you can, because you're going to generate as many of those forge materials as you can. And you're going to get some perception gear and resilience gear. So depending where you are in the game, resilience is actually pretty good. It gives you a little stat boost with a 10% HP, 10% defense. But perception is basically the main set that you're going to be looking for. And you really want to get this legendary material, which comes at the later stages. It's not going to come in the early stages. But in the beginning, you want to farm as high as you can, as much as you can, and get these crafted materials so you can make your gear, make some better gear from the material. Also, any extra material that you're not using, you can just craft and sell, and you'll come out as a net positive. So that gives you silver. So it's a really important thing to never neglect your faction wars. And obviously you get Lydia at the end of it, which is really a great prize. She's definitely worth it. And yeah, so let's see here. So I think the material comes here, stage 13. So stage 13, you start getting the legendary material. So this is where you want to be at least, ideally higher, because you can get the higher glyphs. And glyphs are something that is very finite in this game. It's very hard to stack up on, even for end game big spenders. You can't really stack these up that easily. And my last comment about faction wars is that if you care about materials, you want to do stage 21, even though 21 might be a slower farm than 20 for some late game, end game players. You want to do 21, you get more resources from level 21 as opposed to 20. So you want to make sure that you can do 21. As well as 21 gives you more CVC points, but that's another thing. So the other quick point I want to say about free resources is basically keeping an eye out for like promo codes. So now like Plarium has given us like this promo code slot. It's kind of easy to like find one of these. If you're a casual player, you can kind of just hop onto like Reddit or Google and just look up most recent promo codes. I know Hell Hades has a page dedicated to promo codes, which is updated pretty regularly. So definitely check it out. These are just free resources. They're not going to give you anything game breaking, but just wanted to make that a quick note just in case you guys don't actually look at this tab and then never really actually realize there's a promo code tab. Obviously there's like this Call of the Arbiter promotion going on right now, so you can get some free resources that way. So these are just like extra free things you can do. You can stack some resources. Another quick comment is like easy events, fusion events. These are super easy, right? So even if you don't you don't care about these fusions at all, these are super easy resources that you want to just make sure you get these, fill the daily requirements, get these resources, move on. The other thing is that you want to do like kind of make sure you get like some of these easy bottom rewards. Sometimes you just get them by doing your regular daily stuff, so it's not really a big chore. But if you're active every day, then you'll have a chance to get these low-hanging rewards. So for example, like arena, right? If you're on top of your arena every day, you don't need to go out of your way to do arena. Like all these rewards are going to be super easy. You're just going to stack them up. So that's kind of what I mean by like free, easy rewards in the game. Just being active, doing as much content as you can, and then you'll just progress your account that way. So the next point I want to go on to is clan boss. So for, like I said, early mid-game account, you might be like trying to get out of brutal, so you just 6-starred your team. You just put masteries on your team. Your team's kind of janky. It's got some weird guys in there. It's not the best. It's not the best mix. You obviously not speed tuned. But once you get those 6 mastered with War Master or Giant Slayer, and they have some synergy like speed or healing, you can try to start inching up into Nightmare. So once you start getting up into Nightmare, you will have chance at a better loot. So here you can get a chance for Sacred Shards, Legendary Books, and yeah, obviously Epic Books and such. But in Nightmare, this is the first chance you can get at these items, the Sacred Shard and the Legendary Tome. So once you get to Nightmare and you're able to get this top chest, your game kind of changes a little bit because at this point you really want to do your clan boss as much as possible, because prior to that it wasn't like a super big deal to get these rewards. Obviously they're important at the time, but at Nightmare you can get the Legendary Tome and the Sacred Shard, and that gives you at least a chance to pull something that will give you a shot at Ultra Nightmare. So Ultra Nightmare, like, yeah, you see a lot of these unkillable teams, the Mytha, Maneater and such, but you don't really need those champions, and you don't really need to like 1 key or 2 key this clan boss. But as soon as you can get to like 3 or 4 key, you want to be in Ultra Nightmare right away, because you still get the same Sacred Shard and Legendary Book, but the pull rate is significantly higher than Nightmare. So clan boss is the key in the early, mid game, and even the late game, because it gives you those key resources. So if you guys are struggling down here, easy, normal, hard, you're likely you could be leaning on the wrong champions. First of all, you could not have them leveled up properly, so you might be running like 260s, 350s, or you don't have masteries on them. Because once you put 560s and full masteries on them, which it doesn't even need to be the right champion, you should be able to clear brutal and enter Nightmare. Once you start entering Nightmare, you should be looking for specific champs to try to build a team for Ultra Nightmare. That should be your priority. You don't want to stay too long in Nightmare, although Nightmare can kind of sustain you slowly. You want to get to Ultra Nightmare right away. So clan boss is the key to this game, where you get the books, you get the shards, very important. It allows you it allows you the possibility to do a lot of things like fusions, and obviously build other optimized teams, build more champions, things like that. So yeah, definitely don't ignore your clan boss progression. Next up I have is, so I got 2 dungeons here. It's a bit newer content from Plarium, but Sand Devil's Necropolis. So for me, I'm an endgame player. I have to farm Sand Devil to upgrade my gear, so I can squeeze maximum stats out of them, so I can do PvP content and endgame content, etc., etc. But if you're an early mid-game player, even a late-game player, you do not need Sand Devil's Necropolis. If you're still slugging through the game, the only reason I would do Sand Devil's Necropolis is for if you got a lucky boot and you rolled Ascended Speed on it, and now you have the opportunity to roll to oil it up to plus 12 speed. That's the only reason I would bother with Necropolis, and that boot would go on your Arbiter to give you a little bit of an edge in arena. Otherwise, I would totally ignore this dungeon. This dungeon is a complete energy resource dump. So unless you're in the position to dump resources into this dungeon, I would full skip this dungeon. We recently just had a artifact enhancement event where they were giving out Sand Devil resources like oil, and that helped a lot of people because that gave a lot of people their first ever fully ascended piece of gear. So I think that was a good event, and like, you know, that just kind of shows how many people do Sand Devil. People are just like, wow, this is my first piece, and rightfully so. Definitely don't invest resources in that. So I'm going to say stay away from that dungeon if you guys are thinking about it. If you guys are early game, definitely stay away from that dungeon. Don't fall into the trap of like spreading your oil too thin or looking for perfect pieces of gear, because you're far from that progression level. The other dungeon I want to talk about is the Iron Twins. The Iron Twins return on energy is god awful. It is god awful. It is straight up for end game players trying to get blessings, the highest blessings they can, trying to stack up the resources so they can get higher blessings on their specific champions. If you are just starting out in this game, if you are just merely progressing through, trying to get Lydia, trying to finish Doom Tower hard, you know, trying to do some Hydra, not even Hydra, even trying to get Ultra Nightmare, don't even bother with this system. Don't even bother with the blessings. Of course, if you get something like a shard, you know, good luck to you. You can do it. If you can stack some of the coins slowly, good luck to you. Because all you really need is like a level 1 Brimstone on maybe your clan boss team, and you're good. You don't really need anything from this dungeon. It makes PvE, so any content in the game against the computer, much easier if you can get the right blessings. But of course, you're going to have to invest significant amounts of energy and resources to obtain these essence to get the proper blessings. So these 2 dungeons, Sand Devil, Iron Twins, full skip if you guys are newer to the game or mid game, and I would only consider if you guys are in the end game. And yeah, so when I'm saying end game, I'm saying like Ramantu, like finish Ramantu or on your Ramantu missions. So that's that. So definitely ignore those 2 if you guys are thinking about it. The other thing I want to say is like a quick note on just general patience. You want to save up your shards, right? You want to save up your shards for good events. So patience in waiting for events so you can maximize the return on your shards, especially if you guys are low spend or free to play. Definitely think about that. You want to maybe contribute your shards during fusions, so definitely be patient for those. You know, there's going to be lots of events. I just want to make a quick comment. Like there's lots of events. Plarium's, you know, jamming them down our mouths every day. Like there's going to be events, like 3 or 4 events every week now, it seems. So none of these events are ultimately very special. So definitely wait. But and also like things like saving your gems, things in your inbox. Definitely, you know, try your best at being patient if you can. The returns are like mathematically will be higher than if you were not patient, but it really depends on how long you expect to be playing this game. If you don't expect to be playing this game the long term, then, you know, by YOLO away, right? Like, so yeah, just a quick comment about that. And finally, I think this last point does, you know, tap into you know, early end game players, but picking the right clan. So I think that this is something that's really overlooked. So for me personally, I'm in this clan UNG. It's called Uncommonly Good. I've been in this clan for 2.5 years. I've been very grateful to be in such a great clan, great cluster of clans. So I just want to say thank you, a quick plug to my clan, I guess. But I want to just say a quick thank you to everybody in the clan. It's been a great experience. And yeah, so if you're in a great clan, you have access to a lot of resources in the clan. So people can help you, especially if you're new. They can help you out. They can definitely give you pointers. You can be, if you're in the right clan, it maximizes your return on rewards. Like obviously, clan boss, downing clan boss, you know, downing hydras, similar expectations for CVC. So CVC is just one of those things that, you know, it might not be the best, might not be for everybody, and it's definitely not recommended for everybody. Don't let it take over your game, CVC. But it definitely works well when you have aligned expectations with your clan. So for me personally, I'm in a tier 6 clan. We go pretty hard once in a while or whenever, you know, whenever we can win. You know, we have aligned expectations, right? And it really benefits me because I get to, you know, I get reaction accessories and we're doing really good. So, you know, I have no complaints, and I think this is something that is overlooked. So if you guys are, you know, entering clans, hopping through clans, I kind of recommend like sticking around and like trying to see if the clan is the right fit, right? Don't just jump into any clan. Make sure it's a right fit. You know, also just increases the enjoyability of you know, of the game, right? It's just a social aspect of the game, and it's gonna help you out a lot in your overall progression, because this is a place, especially if they have Discord, where you can definitely get some information, you know, get some tips, and it's going to be like, it's going to definitely propel your account forward. So what I will want to say is, where do you find a clan? Where do you find a good clan? Where do you find a good clan? So you can search here, you can use your search functions, look for clans, you know, obviously open clans, and then you gotta do like, you know, how full you want, and then you can have your pick, right? You have your pick and then just apply in game. The other thing I want to do is, other thing you might want to consider is like going to like a big Discord. So I would recommend like Hell Hades Discord. I'll leave it in the comments below, but basically he has a very good strong community of players and a lot of people looking for players. So if you guys are a player looking for a clan, definitely jump in there, find a clan in the, you know, obviously the advertisement section for clans, and then just, you know, have a chat in Discord, see how it feels, and, you know, just find the right fit, you know. And if you guys are, you know, hopping around clans, I think it's kind of not beneficial for you to hop around clans too much, but, you know, it's also more fun to stay with the same people and then start building some relationships that way. But yeah, definitely don't neglect the value of being in a strong, good clan, good cluster, lots of information to speed up your progression in your clan. So that's kind of like my comments on just, you know, how to supercharge progression in your account. Obviously this is more catered towards earlier mid-game players, but I hope some of this maybe puts some things in perspective, maybe brings more older topics back to the surface, so you can maybe think about it a little bit. But I feel like some of the things we talked about today, it definitely are things to consider, and how it you know, and we can think about how it affects your account long term. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys like it. Let me know in the comments below. If you guys have any questions, also let me know as well. And if you guys have anything that you guys are wondering, you know, what my thoughts are, like, yeah, just ask me in the comments. I read every comment, and I try my best to respond. So anyways, that's all I got. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.